Hello and welcome to episode 1 of this whole making a song a week situation that I have proposed to myself. The first song is officially up. It's on SoundCloud. Feel free to check that out. The first song was made entirely off camera, unfortunately, but I will be going through each and every track and we'll be talking about how I made it. So I am kind of new to this video creation thing, and I just realized I've been using Ableton to record the mic. I've also been soloing instruments this whole time, effectively muting the mic, so I will have to alternate between my phone's audio and the screen recorded audio. That might be really annoying, but I promise you it's not as annoying as it would have been for me to re-record this entire video. So the sound will be like a little whack, and that's fine. That's just gonna have to be fine. I'm so sorry. For this first song, I actually set out to make something really simple and poppy and straightforward. My mission was to use almost entirely samples, which is something I seldom do. I normally end up getting my hands all dirty in the sound design, and this time I wanted to make a point not to do that, just because I get so distracted by the sound design quite often that I end up like losing sight of the end goal, which is just make a song. So this time I really wanted to keep it simple and just go for the finish line and not second guess myself a ton, because that's what this whole experiment is about. I did use the Cymatics sample packs because that's what I had. So the first thing I found was this bass. I literally just went like, all right, let me find a bass line that I like, drag it in and work from there. I liked this one over here. Actually, yeah, it was in 124 BPM. Initially, I made the track in 124. I realized that was way too fast to sing on, and then brought it back down to 120. So, but this is the bass. So. Just really straightforward, deep rumbly bass. That's how I like them, deep and rumbly. And then this pluck kind of went with it just super nicely. The pluck was in F minor and the bass was in E minor. So I decided to make the whole thing in F. So this is actually pitched up, as you can see. And then the pluck, I mean, I'll just go ahead and play them together. And then the drums are also just sample loops. This one, it's like they all were part of the same like loop, and they just, you know, I had the stems. I'm gonna add in the drums so we can hear those as well. And yeah, I didn't do anything too interesting to these drums. Fun little tom right at the end. I will say they were originally a lot slower. I think they were like 90 dB. So yeah, it's just have a little more energy, but that's about it. And then there's like over here in this transition, I did kind of chop them up and do my own thing. But that's really the only part of the song where I did anything particularly interesting beyond like just taking out and putting back in elements of the drums. So here it was just like kept that snare and just rewrote kind of the kick line to make it simpler, because that's what I needed. So yeah, I'm gonna try to go kind of in chronological order of what I did to the song, because I feel like that's somehow, that can be enlightening. But once I kind of had that bass going of like bass, pluck, and drums, I was like, okay, like let's get a lead happening. It was at that point really clear what I wanted, so I searched for like a lead that had like the quality of the sound, and then as you can see, just chopped the living hell out of it. I knew what melodic line I wanted it to do, so it started just with this here. I just kind of knew immediately it would be like this little lead in, and then just like a little beep vibe. Actually, you can see these are muted because originally it was this. Then the voice came in, and then it just kind of, we'll get to that. But yeah, I ended up muting those first little hits for that reason. This was fun to do. It was really just pitching things around, as you can see. It was just like I took like some sample. Let me see if I can hear what like this used to be. So we can hear what this came from, its origins. These are just pitched around to be whatever note I needed them to be. Yeah, I think I took different clips just for like vibes. There wasn't too much of a method to the madness, me on like trying to find that melody that I was looking for. And yeah, the beeps are just beeps, man. I think some of these are pitched down. So yeah, I just played around with this until it like sounded like what I wanted. And then this guy, this was like this same sample, faded in and out and then consolidated, because this is like a little lead in to this. And this is where it got a little fun, like a ton of delay, and just automated it in with gain. If you want to automate the volume of anything, I highly recommend doing so with a utility, because you will automate that volume and then the time will come where you've decided that the entire track is either too quiet or too loud and you need to mix it in. Like there will always be mixing towards the end of the song, and you're gonna want to be able to do it without like going in and dragging up and down the automation. So the safest way to do it is just throw a utility on it, do it with the gain knob on the utility. That way, if I'm like finishing my track and I'm like, actually that little beep is just way too quiet, I don't then have to like mess up my entire automation. I can just fuck with this and it's gonna be fine. But yeah, let's hear that little lead in. It works, it really works. We can listen to that now with everything else that we've discussed so far. You can like barely hear it in the beginning. And then again. That was kind of the first like chunk of song that I was like, okay, this is the main idea. Normally once I have that like main texture is when I start arranging. I get into arranging pretty quickly. I'm just like a songwriter at heart. I kind of started out more writing than I did producing. Yeah, I like to get into arranging sooner rather than later, because then I feel like I know what I'm working with, you know, like once I have like overall like the sections, and I'm not super creative about them most of the time, but like once I know like, okay, I need a chorus here, I need a verse here, like once that's all stenciled out, the whole thing becomes more manageable. I'm like, okay, there's like a mental checklist, and I feel like I can see the end. Whereas if I'm just like going linearly, I don't even know where I'm going. So that's just me. I like to get like the whole picture. It also helps that like I'm a vocalist. I'm gonna put vocals on this. So if you're just making beats, it's harder to have that. But I do encourage it, especially if you want to make beats for artists. I really do encourage like thinking of, you don't have to write, you know, the vocal lines, but be like, okay, this is where the verse would happen. And you can just kind of feel it. Not that I'm here to tell you how to make music, to each their own. If you have something that works for you, that's great. But I don't know, we're here to learn, so that's how I do it. That's when I started drawing out these sections. These sections that you see up here are kind of what it was from the beginning. I don't think it changed at all. Yeah, immediately it was like, okay, yeah, let's start with just that bass and the pad. Oh, sorry, just that bass and the pluck. Be like, the voice has to go there, like, come on, it just makes sense. And then like halfway through the drums had to come in. It's just, you know, it just feels natural. So really, the whole structure of the song, from the beginning, from that moment till like the end, didn't really change much. there's nothing harmonic has happened beyond just bass and pluck. So this is a really minimalist track. So the chorus, I mean, I knew that I'd be building up to this like little hook drop, whatever you want to call it. And then came this transition, which like off the bat, I just kind of heard like the Lorde song. Oh, she's like, we're getting good at this. Or like, you buy me orange juice, we're getting good at this. So like that was my vision there. I was like, okay, there has to be like a little break and then some talking. So ultimately that is what I did, and we'll get to the vocals later. After this hook, just a little break, and then those drums, that's when those drums get like sparser to just chill. And then we're just back. Obviously there's a break here so that those drums can come in a little more strongly in the second verse. So arrangement wise, it's really straightforward. It's verse, like a little chop section, chorus, drop, transition, verse, chorus, drop, and then a little outro. Where I recycled the vocal chops I ended up using here in the pre-chorus. That's like the only thing that wasn't really planned. Harmonically, that's really it. It's honestly one of the most straightforward songs I've ever made. This pad for like a little extra oomph, this is just like a pad I made honestly years ago. You just make a good pad and you don't let it go. You hold on to it until you've squeezed the life out of it, and I don't think I ever will. I call it my Fly to You pad. I actually made it because I was doing like a cover of Fly to You by Caroline Polachek and Grimes that maybe someday I'll post. We'll see if I ever get around to that. Oh, never mind. I never filmed it. I just thought about doing it, but I never actually did it. I did a different Caroline Polachek cover. Comment if you have any interest in saying that. I made it for that, so it was just designed to like imitate the pad in that song, and this one was solo because it's just real quiet, and it's just a good pad. It's really delicate. It's just when you just need the smallest amount of like fluff, of like essence. That's it. Like, you don't need more than that. And like, it's all stock plugins. Oh my God. Yeah, there's no external plugins on this thing. This is all stock. Happy to share that rack with you. If you're interested, drop in the comments. But it's just a good pad, man. It's glue. It's glue for whatever you need. That's the whole song. That's literally it. What are other fun things that I did? There's this little noise thing, and that's just like populating the space slightly. It's like a vinyl crack almost. I don't know what it is. So the next thing was like transitions, gluing the parts of the song together, even if it's just the smallest little thing. When that section transition feels like warranted or like you knew it was coming, it makes a world of difference. So just the tiniest little things are often enough. Not much is happening. Oh no! Oh no! Oh wait, no, I'm smart. Because the screen recording, yes, no, never mind. Fuck. So yeah, so this little transitional element here, going from the transitional break into the verse, it's just a reversed kick. Faded in a little, you can see the faders played with. And that like with the kick also not reversed after, that sounds like this. So it's just like a little whoosh to get you in the mood. It's really subtle, but I think really effective. Those little things are really important, like glue to keep it all together. There's a little more glue happening here. This hook, I had a little more fun on that drop. Just put a little ride. And then same, like little reverse kick. Just kind of gives it a little more energy. And now, by the way, you understand why we ended up muting these two little hits of the lead, because the vocal does that like me on the drop, literally carving out the silence for it. And then just a little crash riser. I mean, the song's ending, you know, you're going to the outro. You need something to be like, this is it, you know? One last hurrah. I just found like a crash, reversed it. This is what she sounds like. It's subtle, it doesn't do much. It's not super in your face. It's a little screechy, which I think is like in keeping with the themes and sounds that are already present. You know, that lead is super screechy, so I feel like it kind of makes sense. Here is it soloed. And it makes, that transition into the outro just like a better payoff. Okay, I did do something fun drum-wise in the outro. These perks. They're a lot, and it's like a good a lot, but like a lot nevertheless. It just felt like it was a ton just right there towards the end, because there's also some vocal chops that we're about to listen to. I had some fun like with automating an auto filter. It's also here in the first hook, but yeah, I feel like it helps. Let's hear them. So this is them like unfiltered, and then they'll be filtered. With everything else, this is what the outro sounds like. And we'll go ahead and play it with a little crash riser moment. This is a little more cinematic. You know, we're almost wrapping this thing up. And then cut out those perks, leave just bass, pad. I'm telling you, that pad will heal your soul. That pad will clear your skin. The noise fader's been adjusted, automated, just utility on the bass, gain, that was it. And same for the pad, so that it just kind of fades out a little bit. It's just a little abrupt without that. And I think that's all for instrumentation. But in the words of David Grohl, I have another confession to make. I used a plugin on the vocals that I don't have on this computer. The plugin's not here. It's not in the room with us. I'll just edit into this video myself on the laptop. For now, let's just pretend it's there. It's like a doubler. It just creates dubs for you, and it also has a few other effects. It was automated on and off anyways, so most of the song, it wasn't even there. Vocals I actually recorded on not this mic because I didn't have it with me. I was traveling. I did it on a dynamic mic. Actually, for vocals, I record those into a separate session, and I did most of the processing. I do the boring processing on that other session. Why do I do it that way? Because I have a curse upon me. It is the curse of lag. Lag follows me wherever I go in life. I don't know why. I have the most problems with lag of anyone I know. So I just have to be really mindful about lag all the time. So I just bounce the instrumental, bring it into another session, so that I just have no plugins and just minimal lag the whole time. The vocals were actually recorded into that other session and then brought in here. I am not a mixing engineer, but if you are interested in how I mix my vocals, I'm happy to, go into that. Feel free to comment. If that's something that the people want, I'll do it, and I will tend to all of your whims. But it's pretty straightforward. I just kind of EQ'd, I think compressed, and then there's a little more compression here too. I had like the chorus lyrics like in my notes app, and I kind of went from there.
I can miss the good old days while they're still young, and I can miss what could have been like it always was. I'll still love you sorely like a bruise left on my knee. High and short-term nostalgia for you and me.
It seemed like a vibe, like nostalgia for something that just happened, and then I built everything else around that. And then there's references to LA, because like LA is just kind of iconic. I don't even like love LA like that. It's not my kind of city. I like to walk, so I don't love that you need a car to go literally down the street, but it is iconic. 405, come on, that rhymes with anything. You can rhyme anything. 405, like a 3-syllable word that rhymes with I and die and drive, like, and it's a cultural reference, and it's kind of come on. Mulholland Drive. It's easy to write songs about LA. And I did live in LA for 4 years, so that's in there. There's really not a ton going on in these vocals. They were pitch corrected, I guess, in the other session. Here's just like a little extra EQing because I felt like I need a little brightness. Pretty straightforward. We do have some fun chops over here. So that actually comes from chopping up a part of the vocals. So yeah, that was that like whole part was kind of chopped up. So I ended up using the like more lick. It technically is saying more lick curb, but it works. It sounds like I'm saying more liquor, which is kind of boss. I don't know. I think it works. It's kind of hard that it says that like more liquor, more hard. I don't know. Maybe that's lame, but it sounds cool. That's all that matters. So yeah, use that, like the slicer, and then resampled that in here, and then did just some like pitching around of some of these samples. Yeah, so this is like an octave up. This is not. This is not. This is 3 tones up, or 3 semitones up. I think some I brought down. I had fun with it, you know? But then there was also the effects. I threw some chorus on there, I threw some reverb on there, and I threw some delay on there. And I also have an LFO panning, left, right, left, right, left, right. So this is mapped to the balance of this utility. And again, use a utility. Don't do this directly on the balance of the track, because it'll drive you crazy at some point. And then playing with dry and wet, it's just automated on and off. Like this whole like little effect rack is automated on and off. So sometimes it'll just come in super dry. And I feel like that's just so fun. It's just so jarring when you go from like something really like wet and messy, and just suddenly you're hearing the voice like crystal clear, dry. It just has impact. So I love playing with that. And we can see the automation while we listen to it. And just kind of let it ring out. I didn't do much in the way of backup vocals. Okay. So yeah, there's like that one. I just kind of threw it, panned it a little to the left, and it has like an auto filter on it. And then this is where we have the like spoken word Lord moment in the transition. It's like a little corny, but it's cute.
You let me down.
So dramatic.
Tell me, what good was it?
Yeah. So yeah, also just auto filter. That's it. Oh, and then like hella reverb. Verse 2 was where I was like, all right, let's do some backing vocals. Nothing insane though. What do I have here? Yeah, I thought that was cute. I just kind of like, you know, when you're listening to something and you're like, okay, let's do it. So that's just literally for you and me, but like chopped. And then just pitch the hell up. It's 2 octaves. Brought that hella down. Through hella reverb. I think that's automated. Hell yeah, that reverb is automated. So it's just like super wet right there.
I keep the pictures on my phone. Messages left.
And then we got into, these are just oohs. They were just 2 little oohs.
Circle I'm Holland Drive. Took me down the 405. Painted the whole city with your picture perfect alibis. Now you got your left hand on my bleeding heart. You're swearing blinds. I never meant to let the feeling die.
Little backing vocals. Those lyrics, there's something really country about them. And I think you can tell like in how I sang it that I was feeling a little country. I don't do that. I don't really, but it just felt right. There's like a little swing. They're a little thrown back. I don't know what possessed me. The spirit of Shania. I don't know. It felt appropriate, is what I'm saying. But yeah, something about left hand on my bleeding heart. You're swearing blind. You know, I don't know. I'm not from the South, as you can tell.
Now you got your left hand on my bleeding heart. You're swearing.
You know, bleeding heart, not bleeding heart. It could have been straight like that, but no, it's bleeding heart. You're swearing blind. Anyways. And yeah, just two little.
Never meant to let the feeling die.
Adorable. For this last little chorus, just threw in a little lower harmony. Just give it a little fluff. I mean, it's the last chorus, you know, when last hurrah.
I can miss the good old days while they're still young. I can miss what could have been, although it never was.
It just kind of gives it a little juice. And then outro, we have these chops again. But this time I didn't automate them on and off, like the effects. I didn't automate them on and off. It's just like wetness galore. Same like back and forth panning with the LFO, but it just felt more appropriate. I automated the depth on the LFO. So the first time around, they're panning here, then they're panning more like out here. It just feels a little bit more, because it was wet. I feel like you just can't even tell anymore. you know, so it felt like I needed a little more drama on the panning. And it's the last one. You gotta put everything out there, leave it all in the field, as they say. I love like the drama of a like reverb delay vocal ringing out on a vocal. So sexy. This is Remy from the future clocking in to talk about these vocals and the elusive cymatics plugin. So as you can see down here, it is automated off for most of the song. I really just bring it in on that lead vocal during the choruses. So let's get into what she does. I've soloed the vocal. I'll start with a bypass and then turn it on so we can really hear what it's doing.
I can miss the good old days while they're still young.
That's just totally dry.
And I can miss what could have been like it always was.
So it really just adds a lot of texture. It creates like duplicates of the signal, so it feels a lot fuller, a lot fluffier. And then there's a bunch of effects over here. I just used this like vocal dreamy preset, cranked up some of the vocals that had 7, I made 11, and messed with this reverb over here. I went ahead and automated it up from 40 to like 90. So it gets super wet as the chorus goes on. And you can also see that I automated the device off right here so that it would get super dry on me, you know, vis-a-vis the whole juxtaposition of like super wet vocals and then suddenly having it really dry and crystal clear. I love the like effect. I feel like it like snaps your attention to it. And I also decided to bring it back right here because then we get like just the echo, just like the tail of all that reverb. And it's like the reverb coming back to haunt the track. I don't know, I thought it sounded kind of cute. So we can hear that also soloed.
While they're still young, and I can miss what could have been like it always was. I'll still love you sorely like a bruise left on my knee. High on short-term nostalgia for you and me.
And then that same plugin I also used on all of the backing vocals. And then it's also similarly automated on the backing vocal in the second chorus. But really it's just there for those oohs to give them a little bit of fluff. I'm gonna go ahead and solo those as well so we can hear them alone with the effect, and then I'll take it off so we can hear what it's doing. This is with the effect versus without. So just a lot drier, it just gives it more padding. And that concludes talking about this track, Short-Term Nostalgia. It's on SoundCloud. Thanks for tuning in. Please like let me know any comments, any requests, any complaints you might have, and I'll take them into account for the next time. With any luck, I'll be back in a week's time with yet another song and another breakdown on how I made it, or better yet, like a video of me doing it live. Yeah, thanks for sticking around. It's really cool of you, and I hope you enjoyed yourself enough to tune back in next time. So if that's the case, I'll see you then. Obligatory like and follow and comment and all of those calls to actions that the algorithm loves for me to do so much. Yeah, bye.